Making a lapel collar can be done in different ways. Now what I'm going to show you now is, you might say, the easy way. If it's a man's jacket, or it's a man's jacket, or a man's jacket for ladies as well, it can be done differently, but that's more complicated. So now we're just going to start with the easy one. I've got here my front and my back, and here is the lapel shape. I got the facing for the lapel as well, and of course I put on some interlining on both pieces. Then I got my upper collar, that's in this case all in one. Then I got my lower collar, which I have divided into two. That's not necessary, but this is just maybe because I'm an old tailor and used to this. But then I got 1 centimeter of seam allowance at back. But let's get going. The first thing we're going to do is attach it here at center back. So we'll do that and then take it as it comes. So first, stitch the center back of the collar, and that's 1 centimeter of seam allowance. And just as usual, it needs to be ironed before we can continue. So split the seams and iron it. Now when that's done, we got a collar like this, so it looks very much like our upper collar. Now I add these two together because I need to sew these in order to turn the right side down. I place it in the edge all the way. And it's supposed to be sewn here in the top part. You will see that there is a slightly different between my upper and lower collar, and the reason for this is I don't want my seam to be seen, and I'm going to come back to that because it has to do with the ironing and the next step. But before doing that, I need to sew this 1 centimeter of seam allowance. Make sure you make a proper corner, because the corner has to be equal. So up here, turn around and this way. Now we make this, and we need to turn inside out, or right side. As usual, I cut away part of these corners, so I'm sure that it can get a nice point with no bumpy. Turn it. And you see now I got two nice corners here, and hopefully they are the same. How lucky can you be? Now I just need to iron after ironing, you can easily see why I made the top collar a little bit thicker than the lower collar, because now when I have it folded like that, I would never see the seam, because the seam is displaced just a few millimeter. But now it fits in the edge, in the bottom edge, so that's gives just such a nice look later. Now it's time to place it. I got here a small notch, and I got again when I place it, I got the notch, and here it needs to fit perfectly. As I've done many times, I'm going to create a cross mark, a cross corner. So I mark here 1 centimeter, marks 1 centimeter, make a line, mark 1 centimeter here, and now I've got the cross point. Now I've got here my neckline. To make it as easy as possible, I create a cross point. So I'm marking 1 centimeter, drawing a line, mark 1 centimeter here, draw a line, and now I got the cross point here. That's to be used when I'm going to sew this. I'm actually doing exactly the same on the collar. So when I take my collar, I draw again, mark 1 centimeter, and of course I would never dream of doing this with a pencil. I'll always do it with a chalk, so it's possible to remove it afterwards. But now you see I got here a new cross point. These cross points are supposed to be upon each other later to make sure I make a nice finish. I'll do exactly the same at the other side. So here 1 centimeter, draw a line. Of course, when you're really super skilled, it's not necessary, but these gives you just a very good idea about how things are assembled, and to make sure that you make it right quite quickly. Okay, let's sew this. So we're going to sew now. We've got to place our collar upon our front piece. We've got the notch here, and we place it so it fits. If you see the notch like this, it fits exactly where that is. That's another cross point 1 centimeter down. Then I go here, catch this cross point and the one I got here. So these are fitted. Let's see, like that. So I got my cross point and my cross point, and now it's possible to sew from that cross point to the front of my collar. I'm just going to do that. but make sure it's just from the cross point, not further, not starting earlier. Then I'm going to sew like this, and I got the first part of my lapel ready. You see, now I got the shape of it. I'm going to do the other side as well. Again, be sure you're catching your cross point upon cross point, and then placing your collar so it fits and to that notch, and then I sew this as well 1 centimeter, again just to the cross point, not further. So now we just need to do the back side of this. Here I need to make a cut only in the front piece, so I make a cut to that cross point and to the other cross point, and now it is possible to turn it. Oh, have a little trouble here and haven't attached it properly, so just do that. Let's see. That's because I haven't cut it properly. Now I can turn it and I can attach my collar. Now the way I have done this one, I need to do it like that through all layers, and just got to turn this, then it's easier to see. So I do it from here. I'm only sewing up to the shoulder because that's how my facing is made, only to the shoulder. And what has happened, I actually got my lapel nearly finished. Of course it do not look nice at the moment, but it will in a second. Now I can take my facing, this one, and place it. I got here my right side, and that's where I'm supposed to place my facing. So I've got here my front piece, place it upon, and sometimes it's just so much easier if you do it from the back side, because there you can see the stitches you already made. So you see, now I place it like that. And now again I need to do this in two because I can't sew it all in one. So I start sewing this 1 centimeter of seam allowance. Just sew it to the shoulder. And be aware that you make some nice corners, because this is definitely what is going to be seen. Now you're going to catch the seam you already made, and that's the reason why it's important to do it as accurate as possible. Now I'm sewing to my cross corner. To make sure to sew it to here, I need to cut only in my facing to that last stitching. Now it's possible to turn it and sew until the shoulder. Again, do it in exactly the same seam. When this is done, you just need to cut the corner turn the right side out, and voila, you got a nice lapel. To finish it up, I need to do the other side exactly the same. When I have done that, it is possible for me to make the bag. We'll imagine that I have done the other side, or when I do the other side, I'll just repeat it. Here, after sewn this, I cut a notch and sewn to the shoulder exactly, and to the cross point, and this is the other side of my lapel, looking just as beautiful as the first one. Now place my facing. As I said, nice to do it from the back side, because then you can see your seams. Put in a few pins just to help me. And now I'm sewing from that cross point all the way down and catching the stitching I already made. As I did before, I'm cutting the corner to make sure I'm not getting a bumpy corner, and turn the right side out, and again a lapel collar. Now what we're going to do now is cut here in the facing to that last stitch. Then it's possible to sew the last piece up to the shoulder. And the last thing is that we're going to fix the neckline at back. So I open up, and now I'm stitching from the last stitch to the last stitch, just in one layer, attaching this. This could be done with the facing at back as well, but you can find that on the web page how it's done. So let's see. But as you might know, there is not just one way of doing, and a good thing is always to look what you've got in your wardrobe, because there is actually a lot of inspiration according to manufacturing. Now I made it, and it's attached, as you can see, and then because I want all my seams up in the collar, I can't do that just like that, so I'm opening up and cutting through all these layers to that last stitching in both sides. And now I'm folding it up into the collar and folding my seam allowance in the upper collar. from the shoulder to the shoulder. And now I can just stitch it 2 millimeter from the edge to keep it. And we have closed it at the center, at the back. Now we just need to attach this part here, and as I've done a lot of times, if I got something that looks like this, I make it flat, turn it around and stitch it here so it's attached in the shadow of the seam. And I'm going to do that. And when done that, it is kept to the right side, and you've got a beautiful lapel collar. Now it's part of the design if you want to have some stitches, but that can be done now. But a lapel collar made in a little bit simple way, even though you might not think so, but it is a little bit simple. Did you like what you just seen, and do you want to learn more? Then subscribe. I'll constantly develop and upload new things, all based upon the professional way of sewing. All the best from me, and good luck with your work.